This was the first black ruler in Europe, you might say, and in his lifetime he was called Moorish, but he was not a Moor. Before we talk about Alessandro Di Medici, it's important to think about the relationship between Europe and Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa had trade routes to northern Africa, which then went into Europe. As early as ancient Greece, here's an ancient Greek depiction of somebody who is African. That said, the people who are sometimes called the Moors, who ruled southern Spain, were North African and drew from many different ethnic groups, just as you see in North Africa today. So in historical documents, when you see someone being described as Moorish, they might have literally been somebody from the Moorish Empire. And particularly in the Iberian Peninsula, those people would have intermarried with some of these people. Though in the Renaissance, if somebody was described as Moorish, they could also be ethnically sub-Saharan African, as this figure who is described as Moorish. Someone without any African blood at all, but had dark features and swarthy, could be described as Moorish, which is how Duke of Florence, Alessandro Di Medici, was described. But there's a lot of research that's gone into his background, and there's some really solid scholarship that indicates that his mother was a servant who was a dark-skinned African. But it is important to note that during the Renaissance, our concept of what is black would not have existed. She would have just been considered African. I think it's also important to note both in the Iberian Peninsula and in Italy, there would have been a higher likelihood that people were mixed than in Northern Europe.